Darth Vader heads back to Gabribor 3, where the heavily armed Sabe returns to Vader, asking if they can go after the Governor now. Vader wants to contact the Executor and warn them, but learns that the Governor's flagship is blocking all of their communications from the planet's surface. Vader calls for his shuttle as the workers know that Vader can't just blow up the Governor's ship since there are 33 of their people on it, and Kitston needs to get them back. Sabe asks Zed to get her a list of names of the workers along with their skills, but the droid doesn't, since he's currently tracking the Governor's ship via its traffic communications, finding the Imperium 1 left the Governor's flagship 2 days ago and headed to the planet's surface and is only 300 kilometers from their location. Kitston knows that that's about where the old science colony would be, as over at the colony, the Governor is told that their new weapon is functioning at 323% capacity, much better than their last test. Suddenly, the base's alarm sound as the attack begins, and the Governor demands that the droids be deployed, thinking that it's just another Forest Tangor attack, but it's really Darth Vader and Sabe. Seeing Vader, the Governor tells her people to work faster, asking them to send for Crimson Dawn and hit Vader with everything they have. Vader, Sabe, and their men blow their way into the base, and Sabe goes and frees the trapped workers. Vader meanwhile confronts the Governor, telling her that she has sided with Chaos, so she has chosen her fate, not wanting to hear her side of things. The Governor orders her men to fire her giant laser super weapon, which hits Vader with an energy, slamming the Sith Lord back into a wall as Sabe arrives, battling the Governor, who deploys her ray shields to protect herself. Crimson Dawn arrive, extracting the Governor as one of them wants to stay and kill Vader, noting how he is actually stunned from the energy blast. Sabe's blaster is shot from her hand by a super battle droid, but the arriving Ochi of Bestoon shoots it down from his speeder bike, killing the droids and saving Vader and Sabe. Vader force chokes Ochi, angered that he let the Governor escape, all just to save him and try to please his master. But Ochi says that he came to save him. Vader knows that the droids were no threat to him, but Sabe thinks they were, introducing Vader to Dr. Ira, who reveals that the Governor was working on a technology that drains power from living planets. He shows them the forest planet of Corolia, which the Governor had drained, effectively killing the world in her last test. Vader remembers the Death Star destroying Alderaan, hearing all its people scream out in pain through the Force. The workers try and accept blame for the weapon, but Sabe knows they didn't know what the Governor was doing. Vader knows, however, remembering how he killed the Tuskens, the Jedi younglings, and the Separatist leadership. He soon sees Padme on the landing pad on Mustafar, as she tearfully says that there is still good in him. Vader tells her there isn't, shutting a giant blast door on her and separating them. Vader shakes himself from his mind, silently taking Ochi's speeder. Ochi tries to play it off, knowing that he brought the speeder on purpose, all for Vader to use. Sabe tells him to stop groveling and to secure any vehicles for an evac for the workers, since they will destroy the base and wait for Vader to return. Vader meanwhile tells the Padme in his mind that she thinks her plan is working and that she can turn him back to the light, but she has no idea what she has really done. The blast doors trapping Padme away from Vader suddenly blasted open by a bright light, which overtakes and blinds Padme. Vader meanwhile pursues the Governor, who has tossed one of her droids a specialized ammo mag that allows the droid to fire a high-powered energy burst at Vader, who just barely blocks the blast with his lightsaber. The Governor makes it to her ship, telling her men that she didn't pick this fight, but she'll be ready for Vader on her own battlefield. Vader arrives at the ship as it takes off, but he uses the Force to grab a hold of it, slowly pulling it down as the ship's engines strain against the invisible Force. The Governor demands they use the Destroyer 1 ion engines the ship has, knowing there are more powerful things in the galaxy than even Darth Vader. Despite some damaged circuitry and hull damage, the ship gets away, the soldiers assuring the Governor that Crimson Dawn always delivers. Vader's own shuttle arrives as Ochi learns of the situation with the Governor and Vader, demanding Sabe sort out a transport of their own since they have to go after him. Sabe tells him to calm down, since if Vader wanted them, he would have commanded them to come. Sabe comes to see Ira and Zed, finding that the Governor used the facility to process the energy she harvested from the planet. Ira wants to know what she was using to harvest the energy, being that was actually never revealed to them. Zed begins searching for the info on the computers as Ochi decides to leave and find a ship. Sabe stops him, since if they are to stop this once and for all, then he will stay where he is and follow orders. Stormtroopers click their weapons over onto Ochi, who knows as a master assassin he could probably kill them all in seconds, asking why they are following a rebel sympathizer. Zed reminds him that Sabe is now commander in the Imperial Army, something Vader gave her himself. Vader's shuttle meanwhile heads for the Governor's destroyer, demanding they be allowed to board and that they are to surrender. Vader cuts his way on board the destroyer, killing droids and Imperial Navy officers alike as he meets with the commander, who knows once the governor completes her mission, all of this misunderstandings will be cleared up, hoping Vader will reconsider his hostile actions. Vader orders a communication channel be opened to the executor, so a very nervous officer does so. Vader tells Admiral Piet that he is on the governor's flagship, and if he doesn't countermand this order within 2 hours, Piet is to destroy the ship. He orders the officer to tell him where the governor is, as Kitster meets with Sabe, warning her of a giant storm coming for them, and they need to leave now. Sabe fills him in on what the governor is doing to the planet, as Zed reveals that they have found how she's doing it, pointing to the giant storm bearing down on them. Ochi wants to wait for the storm to blow over, but Sabe realizes that he doesn't get it, since the governor is making the storm and using it to drain the planet. Sabe asks Kitster to get the workers back to the settlement, but Ira refuses to go, knowing that he might be needed to dismantle whatever they find, unconcerned that he may die on the way. Kitster tells the doctor to hunker down in the colony lab, and Ochi tries to worm his way in as well, but Sabe pulls him along on the mission. Sabe, Ochi and some stormtroopers follow Kitster into the eye of the storm and find a huge machine powering the weather event. Suddenly, Kitster is swept away by the machine's wind turbines, pulled into a dust cloud as Ochi asks if they can get out of there now, since it's too late for Kitster. Sabe is also suddenly swept up in the wind as well, something Ochi is very happy about since it means they can leave now. Vader meanwhile spots the machine from above in his shuttle, telling his men to keep descending down into the vortex, despite the ship literally being pulled apart. The ship's hull begins to buckle, but Vader uses the force to stabilize them, dropping into the vortex. Suddenly, lightning strikes the shuttle, sending it careening down to the planet's surface. Ochi rushes to help his master, telling him he did everything he could to try and save Sabe, but the wind took her. He tells Vader they need to hunker down for a bit and call for the executor for an extraction, but one of the villagers tell him that the storm will kill them all. Vader wants a new ship, but the man says the governor confiscated all of their ships and all of their speeders were destroyed, with only Kitster's racer available, but no one but Kitster could ever drive it. Vader wants to see if that's the case, commandeering his old friend's pod racer speeder. Sometime later, Vader thinks about his time with Padme on Naboo and the first time they kissed, as in the present, Zed tries to tell Vader that the storm is disrupting comms and they cannot trace where Sabe is, but Vader doesn't care, boarding Kitster's pod racer bike. Wald warns the Dark Lord that only the greatest pod racer alive could drive that machine into the storm like that, and Kitster couldn't even manage the vehicle. Vader remembers his time pod racing as a child as he activates the engines, speeding off into the storm. The storm begins pelting him with debris, but he continues pressing forward through it. Vader sees himself as Anakin again, battling through a Tatooine sandstorm and calling to his mother, but she knows that it's too much and he has to go back, but the boy refuses to leave her. Vader ignites his lightsaber, cutting through some of the debris as he makes it to his mother, telling her that they will be fine, and he told her he wasn't going to be leaving her. Vader remembers leaving his mother with Qui-Gon Jinn, told to be brave and not to look back. Later at the Jedi Temple, Qui-Gon brings Anakin before the Jedi High Council, who know that he thinks of his mother. Yoda tells the child that he is afraid to lose his mother, but Anakin asks what does that have to do with anything? Yoda cryptically tells him that it has everything to do with everything, as years later, Anakin returns to Tatooine to find his mother has been taken by Tusken Raiders and killed, leading to him viciously killing the Tusken clan, as he remembers Yoda's words about fear leading to anger, anger leading to hate, and hate leading to suffering. He then remembers losing Padme off the side of a clone gunship as he pursued Count Dooku on Geonosis, demanding that they land and get her, but Obi-Wan demands he not let his personal feelings get in the way, asking him what Padme would do in his stead. Anakin relents, knowing that Padme would do her duty as Vader finally finds his way out of the storm, spotting Kitster, who can't believe that he got his racer to work. Vader asks where Sabe is, learning that she might be trapped underneath the debris nearby. Vader lifts the huge piece of rubble off of her with the Force as the storm returns, but Vader fights it back with the Force. The sand swirls around him and begins swallowing them up as Vader remembers Padme in the sands of Geonosis again. Above the planet on the Executor, Admiral Piet is told by Vader to target his location with all turbo laser batteries and fire. Piet hesitates but is force choked, ordered by Vader to do so the Admiral does, firing the Super Star Destroyer's guns on Vader's location and disrupting the storm. Vader cuts away for him and the others out of the rubble, taking the unconscious Sabe in his hands and leaving the area, as on Coruscant, Emperor Palpatine knows that Vader couldn't save his mother or Padme, but he thinks he can now save Sabe, making the Emperor laugh. Elsewhere on the planet, Ochi spots the turbo laser blast disrupting a storm as Zed and the others ask if he can see Kitster or Vader or Sabe. Ochi can't see anything besides dust and haze as Zed knows that they can pick up comm signals thanks to the blast disabling whatever the governor was using to jam them. Ochi tells him to call Vader if he's got the guts to, as Wold spots Vader, Sabe and Kitster on the horizon. Wold rushes to help his friend, who tells him that they tried to destroy the governor's machine but they got caught in the storm and Vader saved them. Or saved Sabe at least, and he was lucky to be in the area at the time though. The people know that the machine is still working and Zed thinks that it's still operational and it will reduce the planet to a desert in 48 hours. Vader tells Piet to fire when ready, getting the Executor to blast the machine with a direct hit this time, but there is no direct damage thanks to its ray shields. Piet relays the information to Vader, telling him that wherever they hit the shield, it seems to get stronger. Zed works out that they are converting the energy they are draining from the planet into their shields, as Sabe asks for a list of its weaknesses. Ochi doesn't think that something that can withstand fire from a superstar destroyer has weaknesses, but Vader knows that there is always weakness, which Ochi quickly agrees with. Zed uses M7B to slice into a local colonial databank, learning that the shields protect the facility from above, but not below, thanks to it draining from the planet. A stormtrooper points out that the machine is heading their way, so Vader takes M7B with him, heading for the machine as Sabe asks what will happen to Vader as the machine only absorbs organic life. Zed isn't too sure what's going to happen since it's Darth Vader, but every organic life form will die. Sabe orders an evac of the villagers deeper into the forest as Vader heads for the machine, watching it as it destroys some monstrous aliens. The machine stops as the governor wonders what Vader is doing there in front of them. Her men think that he's dying like everything else they touch, but she notes that he's armored so he's not dead yet, and maybe he too has shielding that protects him. An officer knows that he can't last long against the power they are accumulating, and once they ride over him, he is done for. M7B, however, wheels itself under the machine and pops up one of its top panels, shooting Vader's lightsaber right through the machine, slicing through its important components. Vader controls the saber through the Force, ripping it back and forth through the machine and back into his hands. Sabe sees what he's done and charges the machine with her troopers, as the governor finds Vader has boarded the machine. She knows the Dark Lord will head for the energy center, but instead of evacuating, she equips her huge black battle armor. The governor's men notice that Vader is weakened by the machine's energy as she tells them to plug the suit into the energy tanks of the ship. Her officer tells her that the energy is unrefined, and her armor might not be able to handle it, but she doesn't care, activating the energy in the armor and firing it through her arm cannon. Vader finds the energy is stronger than before, but it's too much for her armor to contain as she has overplayed her hand. The governor thinks that Vader is actually talking about himself since he has so much power but so little control of it, asking how did he think the Empire would let it go unanswered. Vader cuts her cannon up before the governor uses the suit's jetpack to escape out of the destroyed ship's roof, telling Vader that he's only destroyed himself. Vader thinks that he's destroyed everything she has built and she will never challenge him again. Suddenly the machine explodes, throwing Vader down. Sabe tracks down Vader in the energy room, finding his suit has been shut down but he's not dead yet. She points a gun at him, telling Vader that she's dreamed of this for years, but Padme said that there was still good in him. Sabe tells the Dark Lord that she's learned that she sees things differently than the woman she doubled as. She doesn't know why she's always acted as if she really knew what was best or knew Anakin at all. Sabe stops herself from shooting Vader, remembering Padme's words about the heart being with Anakin, so she uses the leftover energy reserves to charge his armor, wanting to trust Padme's judgment. M7B meanwhile makes it clear of the machine, with Zed asking what else the droid sliced, finding the governor was receiving orders directly from Coruscant, discovering that it was from the Emperor himself. Sabe and Vader arrive, and Vader notices Sabe smiling, asking why she is. Sabe says it's because she knows now why she saved him. Later on the Executor, Vader recovers from his wounds in his Bacta tank, thinking about Sabe's words to him when she almost killed him, but stopped because Padme said there was still good in him. Vader smashes his Bacta tank in a rage and leaves, meeting with Sabe on the command deck. Vader is somewhat surprised to see that she is there, but Sabe reminds him that she was made a commander and she is there to serve. Vader's hand brushes his lightsaber, worrying Sabe. Vader asks if they found Governor Tontaza, but Sabe says that Ochi was sent back to track her, but he hasn't been heard from. But they know who was giving her the orders. It was the Emperor. Vader asks her what she advises he do, and she thinks he should confront the problem, just like Anakin would do. Vader does just that, heading to Coruscant and storming into Palpatine's throne room. Palpatine knows how he's been listening to his heart, wondering what else it tells him. Vader suddenly picks Sabe up with the Force as Palpatine cackles at her for calling him Anakin, since that name has no power over him anymore, and all she did in using it is remind Vader how Anakin was weak, helpless, and filled with grief and fear. Palpatine is intrigued by her boldness, however, having Vader let her go so he can see what she is made of. With little choice left, Sabe attacks the royal guards, dodging their blaster fire as Palpatine continues to cackle. Sabe dodges behind his throne and the guards continue to fire on her, causing Palpatine to block their blaster bolts with the Force before killing the men with Force lightning for their insolence. Palpatine thinks that while Sabe was Padme's double, she is different to her in every way, having survived where Padme didn't, noting how ruthless she is and that murder is in her own heart. Palpatine is aware that Sabe thought that Vader killed Padme, so she wanted him dead, but now she wants to kill him, making the man wonder why. Sabe says that Vader wants order and Palpatine brings chaos, but Palpatine thinks that she's the one who brings chaos in service of order, and that is her strength. Palpatine thinks that Sabe could be quite an asset for them and the Empire, and he knows she troubles Vader by just being there, but how can she challenge his power when every moment she has been in his service, he has been molding her? The Emperor tells them to leave and for the Queen's Shadow to be taught how the Emperor can be served. The duo leave and Zed is surprised that Sabe is still alive. He gives them their new orders, telling them that they are to go to Skako Minor, the Techno-Union headquarters. Zed fills Sabe in on a mission Vader went on to kill Wat Tambor's loyalists and install a new regime loyal to the Empire, but now a nationalist alliance is trying to reclaim the planet led by Jul Tambor, the grandson of Wat. Jul has enlisted pirates to blockade the planet and stockpile technology. Vader and Sabe head to Skako Minor, where Zed tells them that recently a commercial transport out of Corellia was boarded by pirates, and thanks to the atmosphere of the planet being poisoned, all of the crew died in moments upon landing. The trio find the ship and the pirates who took it, finding that they crashed into a worm hive and are fighting the worms. Vader and Sabe head towards them, and Vader tells Sabe that they will do what she suggested and confront the problem directly. Vader kills the worms with ease, garnering thanks from the pirates as Sabe finds the dead pilot and his crew of the transport, finding the poison atmosphere didn't kill them, the pirates did. The pirates say they technically didn't kill them, the air just didn't agree with them and they just didn't help. Vader kills the pirates as one escapes on a speeder bike. Vader demands that Sabe get her, but she doesn't, making him wonder if she thinks the pirates should get mercy. Sabe thinks that she can't think of anyone who needs it more, angering Vader, who tells her that she devoted her life to judging and punishing others, but now she isn't the Queen's Shadow anymore. She is just the Shadow and she must accept that. After a moment, Sabe tells Vader that they need Jul Tambor if they are to stop this, and they won't find him if they kill everyone they find or meet who might know where he is. Vader begrudgingly tells her to follow the speeder and infiltrate Tambor's organization to find him, and he will take care of the rest. On Naboo, Ochi tells his captors that they are making a big mistake, but they don't care, only wanting to know about Sabe. Ochi, being the coward that he is, spills everything about Sabe if it means these people will take her off his hands. He reveals that she became an Imperial officer in the service of Darth Vader. The people don't think that makes any sense since she wanted to kill Vader. They begin talking about how she always used deception, so maybe this is part of her big plan, or maybe she really has lost herself. Ochi has lost himself, asking who these people are, so the handmaidens of Padme Amidala reveal themselves, telling the assassin that they are bound to save their sister or to stop her no matter what it takes. Vader meanwhile remembers being confronted by Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar, told only the Sith deals in absolutes. Vader tells himself that's true and no one should forget he's a Sith. Ochi meanwhile returns to the Executor, telling the hangar guard who thinks he was sent to find the governor that he picked up Sabe instead. The handmaiden Dorme, posing as Sabe, gets off the ship, telling the trooper to straighten up. Ochi laughs, making the handmaiden threaten him to not blow her cover. Ochi assures her that they are on the same page, knowing the handmaidens want Sabe to come home, and he wants Sabe to get out of Vader's service. The assassin thinks that Dorme will be able to fool a stormtrooper, but not the droids and their databanks as they sneak into Sabe's private quarters. Ochi finds Sabe's data pads have been wiped, something Dorme knows is standard protocol for life undercover. Dorme spots the armor Vader gave Sabe, making Dorme think that she has left this behind, maybe she isn't serving Vader. Ochi laughs at her, constantly trying to convince herself that Sabe has not joined Darth Vader, since she is the one who's pointing Vader at who to kill, since Vader's pet gets a lot of power, and Dorme got a taste of it just before the hangar guard. As Ochi warns her not to get any ideas, Sabe's personal guard come by, reporting for duty. Ochi tries to shoo them away, but Dorme wishes to talk with them, pretending that their mission has been compromised and if the guards talked to anyone. Dorme manipulates the troopers into telling her that Sabe left for Brental 4 in disguise all alone to assassinate Jul Tambor. Sabe meanwhile finds Jul on Brental, spotting him handing out supplies to some poor people, telling them that he would never forget them, but the Skakoan Council have, leaving them to starve and let the Empire drive them off their own homeworld. Jul says that he promises to fight for them and for the honor of the Tambors. Some of the other Skakoans think that he does this all for profit, since he's the one who started the war with the council and sent pirates to plunder them. Jul tells the men that the pirates don't work for him, they are just taking advantage of the situation and the council are letting them. Jul soon spots Sabe, telling the others to get down, as from behind Sabe, an assassin droid from Droid Crush's assassin pool fires a rocket at Tambor. Jul kills the droid as Sabe destroys his backup, cutting a droid's head off. Jul meets with Sabe, asking why she stepped up and helped thwart the assassination. Sabe says that she heard that he was buying scrap and thought making a deal with a dead man wasn't really proactive. He asks why she took the risk, but Sabe wants him to tell her that. Ochi meanwhile looks through Imperial databanks with Dorme for information on Jul Tambor, finding detailed files on him and his grandfather Wat Tambor, who ran the Techno-Union army during the Clone Wars. Jul began leading an insurgency to take back Skako Minor after Vader destroyed what was left of their council and killed many. Ochi wants to get going to the planet, but Dorme pushes him away, wanting to check to see if Ochi's claims about Sabe using Vader to murder people are true. Ochi brings up all of the times Sabe has used Vader to kill others, specifically how she used him to kill Imperial officers who were working for Crimson Dawn, and destroy Governor Tortaza's energy facility on Gabrador 3. Dorme doesn't think that she's getting the whole story, as Admiral Piet contacts them, telling the disguised Dorme that Vader wishes to see Sabe at once. As Dorme heads off to her fate, Sabe is shown around by Jul and how to breathe on this world. He's been rigging up rebreather generators with scrap he buys since the Empire has outlawed the export of rebreather tech. Jul thinks that Sabe wants to do good and this is good work, but Sabe knows that he also started this war. Jul tells her that all the people want is air as G90 rolls in, telling Jul that Sabe works for Vader, having met her while part of the Revengers. Jul is well aware and was trying to subtly bring Sabe round to his side. Jul reveals that all of this began with Darth Vader when he massacred the ruling council, his father and his world, so he's going to kill Darth Vader. Sabe asks if he knows what will happen if he does, and if this fails, Vader will just exterminate everyone he's ever cared for, something that she knows firsthand. She pulls her blaster, telling Jul he cannot do this, as Dorme meanwhile meets with Vader, who ignites his saber and shows the disguised woman her personal guard, who he's captured for failing her and the Empire, demanding to know what she's going to do about it. The troopers try and explain, but Vader asks if they are just going to beg for their lives. Spotting a nearby blaster, the troopers dive for it, wrestling with Dorme, who shoots them both. Vader knows that they are still alive, and Dorme confirms that she did not shoot to kill, making Vader force choke her, revealing that he knows that she is not Sabe, demanding the handmaiden tell him who she is. Dorme tells him that Sabe wouldn't have killed the troopers, but Vader thinks the handmaiden no longer knows who her sister is or what she is capable of, as on Brendel 4, Sabe shoots and kills Jul Tambor. Back on Ochi's ship in the Executor docking bay, Etre and Sache wait for Rabe to get into position. Rabe, disguised as a droid, plugs into the ship's databanks and gets the data files on Sabe's mission to find and kill Jul Tambor. The handmaidens don't think their sister is an assassin, but Sache reminds them that they don't really know her anymore, and Sabe has been working for Darth Vader of all people, so they either have to save her or they have to stop her for good. The women call Rabe back to the ship so they can leave for Skako Minor, but Rabe Padme spots Vader and the captured Dorme with Ochi. Dorme asks where they're going, but Ochi shuts her up, quickly asking Vader the same question. Vader asks what the Handmaiden wants, but Dorme makes it known that she wants nothing from Vader. The Dark Lord reveals that he knows who Dorme is and how she blames him for Padme's death and the death of the Handmaidens on Naboo. Dorme tells Vader that he isn't her concern right now, making Vader realize that she has come for Sabe, force pushing Ochi against the wall since he brought Dorme to the Executor to get rid of Sabe. Vader reminds Dorme that Sabe now serves him out of her own free will. Vader lets go of Ochi, making Dorme try and help him, but Vader thinks that the concern she has betrays her, since Sabe would never waste pity on him. Dorme tells him that Sabe was the best of them, making Vader comment that in that case, they should follow her lead and join him. Vader takes them to his shuttle, where Ochi tries to get Dorme out of the picture as well, but Vader pushes him down again, reminding the assassin that the people serve his purpose. Dorme proclaims that she will never serve Vader and neither does Sabe, but Vader wants to wait and see. On Brendel 4, Sabe shoots at the feet of Jewel's guards, keeping them at bay as the ship swoops in, picking her and Jewel's corpse up with robot arms and flying away. On board, Sabe asks Zed how Jewel is doing, learning that she missed his heart since his heart is lower in his species, and the droid wants to just finish the job off. Sabe says that she doesn't want him dead, needing him alive as Jewel awakens, asking why she didn't kill him. Sabe wanted to stop him from attacking the Imperials on Skako Minor, so Vader would not kill everyone in his camp as retribution. Jewel asks if she knew he was going to do that, why does she serve such a master like that? But Sabe refuses to be judged by the man who was about to throw hundreds of lives away for nothing. Jewel agrees to not reclaim Skako Minor just yet, wanting to focus on killing Vader first. Zed doesn't think that it would be worth saving his life then, seeing hundreds attempt to kill Vader and none succeeded. Jewel notices Zed's lightsaber scar across his chassis, knowing that even he tried, but Zed says he was just standing there and Vader cut him in half. Sabe's ship is suddenly pulled into a bigger ship as Jewel reveals that he's not just been building rebreathers for people, but droids as well, as G90 and some battle droids cut their way into the ship to save their master. Jewel reveals that most of the droids he made were made from scrap from the ones Vader killed when he took Skako Minor years prior, so he scanned the information they had in their databanks to study Vader's moves and abilities and weaknesses, which Sabe doesn't think he has any. Jewel knows that he's got one, and it's the Handmaiden in front of him, as elsewhere, Vader leaves for Skako Minor. The other Handmaidens plan to follow in Ochi's ship, knowing full well it's a trap. The Handmaidens follow Vader to the planet Fidale, where Dorme waves them down, asking why they followed. The sisters know they won't be sacrificing one of their own to save another as Vader battles them, finding them hungry for a fight, but he can still feel their fear. Dorme manages to smash Vader in the chest with her baton, causing him to be knocked down as the Handmaidens are beaten. Vader tells them that Padme believed in order and the only way they can get that is by joining Sabe in his service. Itre confirms something on her datapad, telling Vader that he's lost since when they fought on Naboo, they knew they couldn't beat him, so she used the battle to tap into his armor, and while they got a complete jumble of code, she cross-referenced it with some old Republic technology they found, and 47% of Vader's command codes were found, which Dorme and Rabe used to tap into the Executor's self-destruct mechanism, and now thanks to this fight, Etre found the activation code by tapping into the armor again. Dorme tells Vader that they just want Sabe back, but Vader asks if they are willing to kill thousands to get her, and if they are, then they are ready. He tells the women to blow up the ship, but in a bit of luck, Ochi receives a comm from Admiral Piet, who tells Vader they just received a transmission from Jewel Tambor. Jewel reveals that he has captured Sabe and he wants Vader to come and get his pet. Vader asks the Handmaiden what they wish to do, as Ochi quietly tells them that Sabe is as good as dead in Jewel's hands, and if they blow up the Executor, Vader will kill them, so they really should just cut their losses and get out. Dorme tells Vader that if this is how they save Sabe, then they will join him, coming under Darth Vader's command. On the way to Brendel 4, Vader again dreams of meeting Padme on Mustafar, telling her they don't have to run anymore and he is now powerful enough to kill and overthrow the Chancellor, and together they can rule the galaxy. He implores Padme to join him, and she does, but Vader tells himself that is how it should have been, but instead he remembers choking Padme and becoming the black-armored Sith he is today. Vader wants to try it again as he and the Handmaidens arrive on Brendol 4, where Zed reminds the women that they are now in the service of Darth Vader. Dorme says they only serve him until they find Sabe and free her, as Vader meets with Sly Moore, who finds Rabe, the woman who used to dress the Queen's hair, now in service of Vader, adorable. She knows Rabe only ever wanted safety and understands that, knowing it's something that only Vader can guarantee. The Umbaran moves down the list of the Handmaidens, listing off their wants and desires, and how Vader is the only one who can give it to them, only if they serve him, that is. Vader tells the women that all things they want can happen through him, asking who will accept this truth. None of the women bend to his will as the hall behind Vader explodes as Jul Tambor's army arrives. The Handmaidens sees Tambor's forces have tracked them as Vader pushes them from the building, telling them that they stand alone. The women battle the droid army, and when the smoke clears, the Handmaidens of Amidala emerge victorious. Dorme calls Vader a monster as Sly says that the Dark Lord showed them what they truly are capable of, wanting them to imagine what it will be like when they join Vader. Sabe meanwhile tells Jul that he cannot fight against Vader since he has refugees and families to think about, all whom Vader will kill if he does. Jul is well aware of how ruthless Vader is, but it won't stop him since his people won't die, Sabe's will. Etre meanwhile learns Sabe is on Jul's flagship 3 clicks north, but Jul is getting ready to attack a nearby farming village. The women want to save the innocent farmers, but Sly doesn't recommend it since it's all just a trick on Jul's part to escape with Sabe. Vader tells the women that they cannot save everyone, but Dorme thinks that they can if Vader fights with them, wanting a real reason to serve under him. Vader doesn't like being given commands by the women, but he'll show them what they want. Vader commandeers a speeder bike into battle with the Handmaidens, carving up a clone gunship and breaking the enemy line into the village. The women tell everyone to take cover as the droids reach the speeder bikes they parked out the front. Etre blows up the speeder bikes, giving them a moment of reprieve in the battle, but Rabe is shot in the shoulder. The Handmaidens call for Vader to help, but the Dark Lord doesn't answer. Dorme tells them that while they thought Jul was setting up a trap in the town, it was really Vader as he races past on his speeder, cutting his way into Jul's ship above to save Sabe. Rabe apologizes to Dorme, knowing that Sly was right about her and she does want safety more than anything. Dorme points out that they were in the middle of the battlefield, which isn't particularly a safe place, but she does state that Sly was right about them all, but she was also very wrong, wanting to go and finish this. Vader meanwhile battles G90 and Jul, reminding the droid that he's already killed him once and he'll do it again since he won't be stopped. Jul gets G90 to unleash a series of floating orbs which electrify and shock Vader, injuring him. The Handmaidens arrive on the ship and Jul takes the distraction as a chance to escape, blasting off from the building in his ship. The Handmaidens confront Vader, telling him that he betrayed them, but Vader says that he made them seize their own potential and learn who the real enemy is. Sabe reunites with her sisters, learning that they came to take her away from Vader's service. Vader begins choking them with the Force as Sabe is told that she cannot trust Vader. The Dark Lord remembers how he asks Padme to join him on Mustafar, and he makes the same offer to Sabe.